Hi everybody, this is Sheila. Welcome back to the Crochet Nurse channel. Today what I'd like to talk to you about is my 6 truths that will keep me motivated while I'm trying to lose weight. And I'd like to share them with you. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will be informed when I have upcoming videos. So let's begin. When I start on a weight loss journey, and I've done this once or twice, when I start on a weight loss journey, I'd like to level set my thinking. And this helps me keep things front in my mind and helps me stay motivated by reminding myself of the things that are important and also the things that are going to keep me level set. So let's begin. And we have 6 of those items that I'm going to share with you today. So number 1, weight loss needs to be for me. It can't be for somebody else. It can't be for your neighbor or your friend. It needs to be for you. Now, there's a lot of folks or you'll go to the doctor and you'll find out maybe you have a high blood sugar or maybe a high blood pressure, and you're told by the physician or the nurse that you need to lose weight and it'll drop your blood pressure and it'll drop your blood sugar, both of which are true. However, until you have that intrinsic motivation to lose the weight, it's just not going to happen. No matter how much somebody says to you, you need to do it because your blood sugar's too high, your blood pressure's too high. If you lose weight, you won't need surgery for your knees. Those types of things. It's just not going to happen. Motivation comes from within. As you all know, I train nurses, and one of the things that I train them on is motivational interviewing. And in that arena, a big piece of that is learning where motivation comes from. Motivation is from the internal. I can talk with somebody and encourage them once they are motivated, but it's that internal thing that from myself. I need to motivate from myself to actually get something done. I'll give you an example. So years ago, probably like 20, it's been a long time. I used to smoke probably 2.5 packs of cigarettes per day. Yep, that's right, a lot. So I smoked that amount per day, and I went to the physician. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs without my lips turning blue and my hands turning white. The palms of my hands were literally white. And anytime I would walk up the stairs, like I said, my lips would turn blue and my hands would actually turn blue from that as well. And so I went to the doctor and they said, well, you just need to quit smoking. Well, I heard that. I knew that if I kept smoking, that I would eventually develop lung cancer, I'd have a heart attack, I would have respiratory disease. All of this I knew clinically. But I didn't choose to quit smoking until I was intrinsically motivated. And what made me stop smoking was actually I felt like I was being a hypocrite because I was a nurse and I was preaching to other people to quit smoking when I was smoking. And that's actually what made me quit. Everybody has their own reason, and what you need to do is find your reason for whatever is going to motivate you to be your best. And that may take a while. It may not be today or tomorrow. You have to find out what that is for you. So that was number 1. Number 2, don't give up too soon. Here's the thing. Most times when people start losing weight, we all do this. We're all charged up, right? We get excited. We're like, oh, we're going to lose some weight. And we get excited and we drop 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And we want everybody to appreciate and enjoy that we've lost the weight. I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but appreciate the fact that we're doing all of this hard work. It happens. I mean, people like to have positive feedback for the work that they do. Everybody likes to have that. You're right. Everybody wants positive feedback, so that's normal. So, however, I can share with you, it doesn't happen with weight loss that soon. Here's my story. When I started the keto diet, I was driving down to Boston once a week for every week. I'd go down every Wednesday and drive down and see people, the same people I worked with every week. And I was losing weight steadily. No one said a word to me about my weight loss until I had lost 30 pounds. That's right, 30. That's a lot of weight. And it just happens to be, it isn't that people were rude or they were not wanting to acknowledge the work that I had done. It's more about that really, people are busy. They have lives. They're not going to watch every little sink in. If you have extra 5 pounds on you, on your frame, they're not going to look at you and go, ooh, they're not going to do that. People aren't like that. People like you for you, right? And so when you're around, they enjoy your company, those types of things. But when I'd lost 30-ish pounds and I actually went down a whole dress size, that's when people started to notice, right? So was I upset about it? No, but I'm sharing this with you because sometimes people aren't going to notice right away. And sometimes that's a good thing because we may fall off the wagon a little bit and then jump back on, those types of things, right? So maybe we don't need them to notice right away. So that was number 2. Number 3. So first we had you lose the weight for you, and then don't get upset if people don't notice. Number 3 is WWL counts. What is WWL? Water weight loss. That's right. Water weight loss counts. So, what do I mean? Most of us already know what this means, but let's explain what it is. So water weight loss happens when we actually start dieting, and it's a normal part of the process. So Americans tend to eat a lot of carbohydrates. Well, clinically speaking, what carbohydrates tend to do, by carbohydrates I mean bread, pasta, cakes, candies, those types of things, anything that's a refined type of a sugar. Even, like I say, bread counts. So when we eat those kinds of things, they're a pure carbohydrate that's converted into glucose, which is sugar. Your body needs a lot of extra water to process those carbohydrates. And so when somebody intakes a lot of carbohydrates, the body needs to hold on to that extra water, and it'll encourage you to drink more, and you'll hold that water so that way your body can process those carbohydrates. Average for the folks, Americans, they eat 50 to 100 or up to 200 carbohydrates per day, which is pretty normal. If you just eat 3 square meals a day, you're going to get that. Because the meat don't have carbohydrates, but you have a side dish of potatoes, that's 30, 50 carbohydrates, and even a vegetable, which is a complex carbohydrate, can have 4 to 10 carbohydrates. So you can easily see that you can add up to 50, 100, even 200 carbohydrates per day. But your body needs to process each one of those, and so that water does that. So what happens when folks go on weight loss? What they tend to do is the first thing that they'll do is they'll cut back on their carbohydrates, which is going to be the breads, the pasta, cake, candies, cookies, those types of things. That's going to plunge the carbohydrates, and that's naturally going to make the body dispose of the water that it needed to process those carbohydrates, because now the carbohydrates are gone, and so we get water weight loss. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to input a video right here. So that's what my weight was the other day. I decreased my carbohydrates from roughly around 60 carbohydrates a day back down to 20 carbohydrates right now, and this is what it looks like. So you can see from me dropping off from roughly 60 carbohydrates down to 20, I dropped a substantial amount of weight just in a couple days from water loss. The average water loss for an individual is anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds. When we drop those carbohydrates, for me it's a little over 2 pounds, which is normal. That's normal. Does that count? Absolutely that counts, because guess what? You did the weight of dropping those carbohydrates, and so that was your reward for doing that. Or can you expect to drop 2 pounds in 2 days just like that again? Probably not, because now your cells have dried out, the carbohydrates are kind of flushed from your system, and so, you know, that's what you're going to get, is that initial weight drop, and that's normal. And congratulations on starting that process. Number 4, NSV is real. What is NSV? NSV is non-scale victory. What does that mean? Okay, what that means is some weeks you're going to jump on the scale, or even some days, because some people weigh themselves every day. Going to jump on the scale and you're going to say, my goodness, I've lost no weight. I do this all the time. I'm one of these folks, I try not to weigh myself that often, simply because it's frustrating, because I will tend to not lose weight. Maybe I'll lose like a quarter of a pound here, a quarter of a pound there. That's how slow I will lose weight. But when that happens, I also go the extra mile and I'll measure body parts, because non-scales victories absolutely count. Now, and why do they count? Because your body is changing its shape, and that is just as or more important than actually the number on the scale. So I was chatting with somebody a while back, and it was funny because I was talking to really smart people, and I'd say to them, okay, a pound is a pound, right? A pound equals a pound. But I had this person in front of me, and they said, okay, a pound of fat weighs more than a pound of muscle. That's not true, guys. It's just not true. Let me show you here. And this example is 5 pounds. You have 5 pounds of muscle mass, and you put 5 pounds of fat on the scale. They're going to weigh exactly the same, because guess what? 5 pounds equals 5 pounds. That's the way it is. 1 pound equals 1. 16 ounces, 1 pound. The difference between muscle and between fat, as you can see, is going to be the space that it takes up. So if you have 5 pounds of fat, which are going to be, the fat cells are going to expand, and more fluid is going to go into those fat cells, and it's going to expand, and it's going to take up more space. So when we decrease our carbohydrates and that water leaves those fat cells, and then the fat cells themselves start to shrink, that's what's going on. So then the 5 pounds of fat versus the 5 pounds of muscle, we're moving that water out of those cells, and then decreasing the actual lipids, which is fat, out of those cells. And so that's why people will say, that's the difference. It's going to be 5 pounds of fat equals 5 pounds of muscle. The difference is going to be the size. So that is why non-scales victory actually are huge, because that means that your fat cells are getting smaller. Now, I'm going to say this, and it's going to kind of sound strange, but and this is something I say to my husband all the time, and I notice this in myself when I start to lose weight. You'll see things start to get jiggly, okay? Jiggly. Maybe your tummy will get a little bit jiggly or softer to the touch, or maybe your arm will get a little bit jiggly. Guess what? That's what's supposed to happen. Because remember what I just said about the fat, and you saw the picture where you had that big globular of fat, and that fat, when it's full to capacity, is firm. And so when it starts losing that water, it gets looser. Okay, it gets looser. That means it's going to start getting jiggly. That is a good thing. That means you're on the right track of losing that water out of those cells, and then losing the lipids, which is fat, out of that cell, which is actually, like I say, that's a good thing. The other piece about non-scale victory, point 2 for non-scale victory, is your clothes start to fit better. And that's what you're after too, right? You want to be able to have your clothes look good on you, and you want to feel good. Non-scale victories do that for you. They kind of help you fit into your clothes a little bit better and make you feel better about yourself. So NSV is real, and absolutely take advantage of that. Number 5. Speaking of clothes, don't dump your clothes. I am notorious for keeping extra clothes. Like this shirt I have on is actually a size 1X. It is not a large, it's a size 1X. But I keep it because I like it, 1, and B, it still looks pretty good on me. Even though it's a little big on me, I still like it, and I keep it around because I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable having a few little bit of clothing that are a little bit too large for me, because just in case I have a bad day, every now and again you're gonna have a bad day, right? You know, you don't want to, but you have a little bit too many carbs, you eat too much, you're gonna have a bad day, pull a little bit of that water weight back on. You know, you wanna have a little bit of a buffer. So I would strongly encourage folks, keep a hold of your clothes. Don't dump them too soon. And like I said to you a few minutes ago, it took some people 30 pounds of my loss before they noticed, and it takes me, on average, 30 pounds before I drop a size. And so I can stay in the same clothes for a really long time before folks notice. Now, that's going to be controversial, because some people feel that they dump those clothes and they get into a smaller size and it motivates them to lose weight faster. And if that's you, then absolutely do that. For me, it doesn't motivate me. If I have clothes that are too tight, like if I get a pair of jeans that are just absolutely too tight, that demotivates me, because I feel like, oh, I must be failing, when I could be just cruising along. I may be at a plateau, or I may have just, had a little extra carbs that day and grabbed a little water back on, or my body's doing that shifting. You remember that non-scale victory. So those types of things. So for me, I hold on to the clothes, and so that way when I'm dropping the weight, once I'm positive that things are going to stay that way, that's when I start getting rid of my clothes. So that was number 5. And number 6 is going to be another one that's going to be controversial. It's going to be exercise. Okay, so I say this one's going to be a little bit controversial. So people ask me a lot, and they do this at work and in other places as well. If you're going to diet, do you need to exercise? And this is strictly going to be my opinion, although there is research around it. The answer is really no. The reality of this whole little thing is exercise is fantastic for cardiovascular purposes, and it will accelerate your weight loss. But if you have to pick your poison, and by poison I mean diet or exercise, you're going to get a much bigger bang for your buck by modifying your food intake versus your exercise. And it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. If you are exercising like crazy, but you are still eating a lot of bad carbohydrates, you're still going to keep that weight on. Whereas if you modify your diet even slightly, do you realize that there's studies out there that show that if you, like so many people will drink regular soda, like a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola, if they cut down 1 can of soda per day, they can lose 10 pounds a year. That's huge. Now you're saying, oh, 10 pounds a year, that's a long time. But you know what? If you do it, by the time the year goes by, that 10 pounds is gone. You know what I'm saying? So to me, when I'm looking at exercise versus diet, I look at exercise as secondary to the diet piece as far as what I'm consuming. Here's the other key to it. If you are starting on a weight loss, or maybe modifying your intake, let's put it that way. You're modifying your intake. Once those pounds start to drop off, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, you're naturally going to start feeling better and wanting to move more. And when you move more, you're going to start with that weight loss. So it's just a win-win. It really is. It's such a win-win. So 6 items, as I shared. Weight loss needs to be for you. Don't give up too soon. WWL, water weight loss counts. Non-scale victories are important. Hold on to your clothes and exercise. Do it great. But remember, diet's going to be your main focus. So anyway, those are the things I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you find this stuff helpful. Hit me up in the comments below. Feel free to shoot me some questions and I'll be happy to answer. All right, I'll chat with you soon.